Now, there's something to be said for sitting out in the sun, or in my case here, in the shade with my legs in the sun, on a summer's day, enjoying the beautiful, ever so slightly balmy breeze that's coming in across the ocean from the east. And I'm looking out across the estuary here in my hometown. It's low tide, so there's a lot of birds out there feeding and not very much water activity in terms of private boating, sailboarding, kite surfing and things like that. But as the water comes in, the tide comes in, that will change dramatically in the course of the day. At the moment, it's very early afternoon, but a stunning day, absolutely exceptional day, and we do get that sort of weather here in the South Island of New Zealand in February and March. February traditionally is the hottest month, the exact opposite to you in the Northern Hemisphere, but this year we've had an appalling summer. It hasn't been particularly attractive at all, and maybe it's happening at the moment. Here we are on the 1st of March, officially autumn, I believe. So we're heading towards winter, but it could be several months away. Several months of absolutely lovely weather could be in store for us, but who knows? We're in a climatically turbulent, might be too strong a word, but a climatically changeable area here. We have the Southern Alps running along the spine of the South Island, and they are often snow-capped even in summer. So you do get very changeable weather. Here on the Canterbury Plains, we can get well into the 30s. I think the highest temperature recorded some years ago might have been in Canterbury, and that was about 44, 45, 46 degrees Celsius. So it's particularly hot by anyone's estimation. And so we're used to these sorts of changes, ups and downs. Overnight it can be quite cool, perfect for sleeping. There's nothing worse than being in a place, and I've been in many, where overnight you've got temperatures in the 30s and it's very, very uncomfortable sleeping conditions. So you don't need an air conditioner here at night, even at the height of summer, and even when we do have a 30+ degree day. The evenings and the nights compensate for that by being considerably different, and in some cases almost 20 degrees different in temperature. I think that's a good thing. Some of you won't. Some of you will be tropophiles, or whatever we might want to call you, people who love the tropics, who love having virtually the same temperatures day and night all year round. Couldn't think of anything more boring, to be quite frank. And who wants to be sweaty and clammy every single day and whilst going about your everyday business? Tremendously uncomfortable. Having said that, I'm sure the body does adjust, but not for me, friends, not for me. But anyway, I'm here just having a quick chat about the lovely conditions that are prevailing at the moment, and isn't it good to be alive, notwithstanding everything that's going on in the rest of the world. And we down here in the far south, the deep south, do care about the tragedies that are occurring in North Africa and certainly in the Middle East and in Europe itself. It's very distressing. No one wants to behold such enormous tragedies in 2025, the 21st century. Many of us thought those sorts of hostilities were a long way behind us, but clearly they're not. Human beings, perhaps we resign ourselves to the fact that human beings will always fight. They will always be at one another's throats for religious reasons or territorial reasons, political reasons, and so on. And mine is not to make a determination on that to declare publicly. I know that whatever my stance is on this, there will be huge numbers of you thinking differently, and many, perhaps even huge numbers, thinking the same as me. But there is no easy answer. We could continue on discussing for hours and hours and hours, if not days on end, as to why this happens and why we as human beings can never move beyond the desire to be at one another's throats, and the desire or the need or the situations that we find ourselves in where the only resolution is one of violence, to destroy the lives, to kill, maim, butcher, slaughter, decimate other human beings. What's that all about? That's not a good thing, surely. I don't think it is. And it saddens me deeply, disappoints me immensely, enrages me very, very significantly that this goes on. And we all do imagine ourselves in positions of power where we might say to ourselves that we would make different decisions and we wouldn't allow this to happen. There was an argument some time ago that was presented to me that if the world was full of female leaders, that we wouldn't have the level of violence that we've been experiencing. And I think there's some merit in that, which is not to say that female leaders, prime ministers and presidents and so on in the past have not been adversarial in their approach to international relations and have not embarked on the warpath. But I think if the great weight of femininity descended in the halls of power, took over the halls of power, perhaps that's a better way of saying it, then maybe we would have some different outcomes. Men have led the charge for thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of years. Maybe it is time to do something about that. I look at the Middle East and I see the male leaders who are charging about wanting to destroy other communities, wanting to suppress the rights of women, wanting to do all sorts of things which are quite alien to most of us in the West. Most of us do not want to see this happening. If you think of Iran and Afghanistan in the 1960s and 70s, they were very different societies. Religion has destroyed the hopes and dreams and prospects of millions of women. I don't think it's right. It's got to be wrong. And what are you going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Is there anything we can do about it? I don't know. It's beyond perplexing. It's deeply troubling, and I wish there were some answers out there. But isn't it time that we did things a little differently? However that may be. It may not be female leaders taking over the world. It might be something different. But we certainly can't allow this to go on where millions of innocent lives are taken for causes that are pushed by very few elites at the top of the heap. You've got people like Putin, for instance, who's a dictator, really. He's ruled and stomped along in Russia for so many years, become a multi-billionaire, no doubt. They all seem to amass fortunes beyond anyone's wildest dreams. And they seem to have the power to make decisions that people just follow blindly. Maybe there should be some sort of a system where people cannot retain power more than 5 or 6 years at a time, and then they're out. Someone else takes over. I know that's, these places are not democratic. These countries are not democracies, so it's a little bit more difficult than that. But there should be some sort of an unwritten rule or a convention where they are just hauled off the thrones, hauled from the seats of power, and someone else takes over. That person taking over may be equally as horrendous in their style as the one being usurped or being replaced, but at least you wouldn't have one person controlling a country for decades and exacting injustice on not only their own people but the world at large. Something to think about anyway. Don't forget that this channel is old man gas bagging, so I'm gas bagging. It's not that I'm making it up as I go along, but as the thoughts come into my head, they come out of my mouth. So this is not a structured lecture. This is not a structured presentation. There is no specific agenda. This is just telling you it as it is and as it comes. So make of it what you will. But that's all for today.